Everyone loves a traffic story. NVIDIA drives the AI training superhighway and investors pile into the latest, fastest car. But what happens when the freeway fills up and the world needs everyday cars to run on the roads, not just race cars? That's when the AI market shifts from training to inference. And that's exactly the moment AMD might stop being the quiet co-pilot and start getting the steering wheel. The size of the prize. Why everyone's eyeballs are on the data center market. Analysts recently revised their forecasts dramatically. The AI data center chip market, GPUs plus accelerators, shipped approximately $123 billion in 2024 and is now forecast to climb toward $286 billion by 2030. That's not just growth, it's a tectonic shift in where compute dollars flow over the next half-decade. The simple takeaway: there's a very large pool of spending waiting to be won. Why mention that? Because when a market grows that fast, winners matter, both for technology and for investors. But which part of the market will hold the real long-term value, training the next monster LLMs, or operating those models billions of times a day for real customers? The shape of that market matters for who benefits. Training versus inference. Two different beasts. Let's be blunt, training and inference are cousins, but they have different diets. Training is the high-intensity, many-parameter, many-GPU marathon. It's where you push math around to teach a model from scratch. Training needs raw flops, multi-GPU fabric, and mountains of memory bandwidth. NVIDIA has been the headline act here. Inference is the daily grind. It's what happens after a model is trained, answering user prompts, recommending videos, routing traffic, flagging fraud, usually at massive scale, low latency, and with strict cost constraints. Inference is where compute is deployed in the real world billions of times a day. As model use shifts from train big occasionally to run everywhere constantly, cost per inference, latency, memory footprint, and total cost of ownership become the dominant buying criteria. That's a fundamentally different procurement conversation than who has the best peak teraflops. Sources tracking the inference market estimate enormous growth. The inference market alone could expand into the hundreds of billions by 2030. Vivid analogy: training is buying a concert stage full of pyrotechnics to record a viral album. Inference is running the streaming service that plays the song every day to millions. You'll make a lot more money if your streaming costs are cheap and reliable. By the way, if you are benefiting from the content so far and want more like this, like the video, it means much to me. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell, and comment the word more. Just go ahead and type the word more so I know. Now that you have commented, let's continue. Why AMD looks interesting if the world flips to inference. Okay, so if inference is the money-making treadmill, where does AMD come in? First, AMD does not yet dominate training like NVIDIA. In many discrete GPU metrics for general-purpose graphics and certain data center measures, NVIDIA's share is enormous, and that's visible in the market share stats. But dominance in training isn't the full story, and training-friendly metrics don't automatically translate into inference supremacy. Several industry analysts and reports show NVIDIA's leading position in discrete GPUs and training workloads. Second, inference is a different engineering puzzle: memory capacity and bandwidth, to hold and stream huge model context, cost efficiency, idle inference overhead kills margins, and TCO, power, cooling, density, and amortized cost per query matter a ton. That's where AMD's MI350 architecture, designed with 288 GB of HBM3E memory and high bandwidth per device, is explicitly targeted to reduce inference bottlenecks for extremely large models, long context windows, and high-throughput deployments. On paper, 288 GB of HBM3E lets you run very large parameter models on a single GPU that otherwise would require model partitioning across multiple devices, which simplifies deployment, reduces interconnect latency, and can reduce cost per inference. Picture it like this: if you can fit the whole model and its context inside one high-bandwidth memory stack, you avoid the logistical gymnastics of slicing a model across multiple GPUs. Fewer moving parts, less latency, and lower software complexity. The MI350 and the long context game, memory is not just bragging rights. A lot of the marketing around GPUs is peak performance numbers, but for inference there's a secret party, memory. The MI350's massive 288GB HBM3 per GPU is intended to enable single-device deployment of very large models, 500B plus parameters in some AMD claims, and long-context inference workloads. Long context here means models that need to remember megabytes of prior conversation, crucial for personalized assistance, long document summarization, and enterprise knowledge retrieval. When you can do this on fewer devices, you dramatically simplify software and hardware costs. Imagine an LLM embedded in a legal document workflow. Every time a lawyer queries the system, the model needs access to the full document and the prior conversation. If that document interacts with the model across many tiny GPUs, you end up gluing results together and paying a latency penalty. If one MI350 can hold the necessary context, the lawyer's query returns faster and cheaper, and the product is more usable. That's real money and real UX wins, not just marketing slides. Cost per inference and total cost of ownership, AMD's playbook. Beyond raw memory, AMD's value proposition for inference often centers on cost-effectiveness. Several independent analysts and engineering benchmarks argue AMD-based servers can offer better inference performance per dollar of TCO for specific workloads, especially when the workload advantages, memory capacity, pricing, and open software stacks line up. That doesn't mean AMD wins every benchmark, but for many deployment scenarios, long context, large parameter models, batch inference, the TCO math is compelling and we could see AMD hit $200 by December 2025. Think about it like two delivery trucks. One is a souped-up sports truck, fast, expensive to fuel, and the other is a larger cargo van that carries more freight per mile for less money. If you only need occasional high-speed deliveries, training bursts, the sports truck is great. But if you run a 24/7 courier service, inference at scale, the cargo van that carries more per trip and burns less fuel is the better business asset. Note this as well. Do you need life abundantly? The thief cometh not, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. John 10:10. If we fully obey the Lord, the Creator of heaven and earth, and carefully follow all His commandments, He has promised to set us high above all the nations of the earth. Deuteronomy 28. We shall be blessed when we come in and when we go out. I appeal to you to accept God and let Him be your guide, for He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. Want more information? Please check the description section. That's the end for now. If you have watched until the end, drop a comment like this: I stayed until the end. Just comment that I stayed until the end. When I see this comment, I will give you a heart. 3 more favors I request from you. First, like this video, subscribe and then turn on the notifications bell. If you do this, you greatly encourage me to continue bringing to you insightful content. Do not miss out on our future videos full of insight. All I am asking is your subscription. Thanks for joining us today. Your support means so much to us. Do not hesitate to share this video to help someone who may benefit. I recommend that you watch the next video, subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts about today's video. Wish you God's blessings and care. Faith and prayer will do what no power on earth can accomplish. See you in the next video by God's mercy.